Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Dijonae Jaynae Educational Channel. This morning, we are going to be doing some early morning division. And of course, if you look, you will see the title that we have here. And the title that we have here is Dividing Decimal by Whole Numbers. All right. So it is nothing hard. It is the same way how you go about working. Normal division is just that it has a decimal part to it. All right. So let us go right ahead and start working the questions. All right. So the first question we have here this morning is 24.42. 24.42. And of course, we are dividing that by 2. All right? We're dividing that by 2. So now we're going to go right ahead. And of course, we're going to start working that question. So I'm going to go ahead and set out the question. That's the first thing we need to do. All right? So here we have 24.42. And of course, 24.42 is known to us as our dividend. So that is known as our dividend. All right, so I'm going to write the word dividend right here for you. D-I-V-I-D-E-N-D. That's your dividend. All right. So now what we're going to do is that the next thing we're going to do is to put in our divisor. And in this case, 2 is known as our divisor. So let me write the word divisor for you. That's D-I-V-I-S-O-R. That's the word divisor. All right. So let's go right ahead and work this problem. All right. So first you are going to say, how many groups of 2's can you get from this 2 right here? And of course, we can only get one group of 2. Then we're going to multiply. So 2 multiplied by 1, of course, that is 2. We're going to draw our line, and of course, we're going to take away. You have 2 things and you give away all of it, you are going to left with 0. The next step is that we are going to bring down the digit that is in the ones place, which is 4. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring down my 4. All right. So the next thing we're going to do now is that we are going to divide. So how many groups of 2's can we get from 4? And of course, we can only get 2 groups of 2's. All right. The next step is to multiply. So 2 multiplied by 2 is going to give us 4. We are going to take away again. And of course, you have 4 things and you give away 4, you are left with 0. So let's see what is next. And of course, what is next is our decimal place. So we're going to put back our decimal place in our quotient. All right. The next step is that we are going to go right ahead and we are going to bring down the digit that is in the 10th place. All right. So let's bring down this 4 now. And of course, I'm going to bring my 4 right there. So the next step is that we are going to go right ahead and we are going to divide. How many groups of 2's can you get from 4? And of course, we can only get 2 groups of 2's, right? And of course, we're going to multiply again, which we're going to say 2 multiplied by 2 is going to give us 4. All right, so we are going to take away again, we're going to left with 0. The next thing we are going to do is that we are going to bring down the next digit that we have. And of course, that is our 2. And we're going to bring it down right there. Then we're going to say, how many groups of 2's can we get from that 2? And of course, we can only get one group of 2's. All right. So the next thing is that we are going to multiply. 2 multiplied by 1, of course, going to give us 2. We're going to draw our line. And of course, we are going to take away. You have 2 things and you give away 2. you're left with 0. And of course, we are finished with that problem. We are finished with that problem. And of course, what we are going to do now is that we are going to check to see if our quotient is correct. And of course, this is our quotient. Our quotient is 12.21. That is our quotient. And of course, the word quotient is spelled Quotient. That is our quotient. All right. How are we going to check to see if our answer is correct? We are going to multiply our quotient by our divisor, and we are going to check to see if we get back our dividend. If we get back our dividend, then this will tell us that our quotient is correct. So let's do a check right now. So I'm going to take my quotient right here. All right, so remember the quotient is 12.21, and of course we're multiplying it by our divisor, which is 2. All right, so let's look. 2 multiplied by 1, or 1 multiplied by 2 is going to give us 2. But before we do this, the first thing we have to do, because we're multiplying a decimal number right here, we have to put our decimal place down first, and then we're going to check to see how many digits are after our decimal place. And of course, we have 1, 2 digits that comes after our decimal place. So I'm going to put 2 dots right here, and that is for us to ensure that our rows and columns are straight. All right, so let's go ahead now and start working the problem. 2 multiplied by 1, of course, that is going to give us 2. And our first answer is going to come right here in our hundredth column. 2 multiplied by 2, we are going to get 4. And of course, our next digit is going to fall right in our 10th place. All right. Now we are going to multiply 2 by 2. And of course, that is going to give us 4. And 2 multiplied by 1 is going to give us 2. All right. So this is known as our product. Right here, we just get our product. Product. And of course, that is our product. And the product is the same thing that we call the answer in a multiplication problem. All right. So guys, let's see if the product that we get for this multiplication is the same thing as the dividend in our multiplication, in our division problem. All right. Of course, we get 24.42, which is the same thing as 24.42. So that is telling us that our quotient 12.21 is correct. So first, let us look carefully at this problem. I'm going to give you like a minute to look over to see if you get it. All right. So in the meantime, let me go to the chat to see who we have here with us. So of course, we have Tariq here with us. Welcome, Tariq. Thank you for coming on in. Thank you for making it Dijonae's Educational Channel. Also, we have Shan, and Shan is here. And of course, Shan, mega welcome to you. Thank you for coming on in. We also have Natty Slim. And of course, thank you so very much, Miss Natty, for making it Dijonae Jaynae Gordon's Educational Channel. And of course, guys, we are going to take another problem. All right, we're going to erase that one. And of course, we're going to go right ahead and take another problem quickly. So this is early morning division. All right, we're doing some early morning division right here. So I'm taking off this one. I'm taking off this one to work another one for you. I hope you are seeing what I'm doing. I hope you are hearing me. If you are hearing me clearly, you can type the word education in the chat so I know that you are hearing, okay? And also, we have some more division problems that we did, so you can check those out as well. All right? Thank you guys for the thumbs up. Thank you for the share outs. It is nice having you. Thank you for making it Dijonae's Educational Channel. All right. So the next problem we have is right here. So that's 59.6 2, 5. And of course, we are dividing by 5. So that's the problem we have, and that's the problem we are going to work. All right, let us go ahead and work this problem. All right, so first thing we have to do is to set the problem out. All right, let's go ahead and set this problem out. Remember now that 59.25 is known as our dividend. And of course, we are going to work this to find our quotient that we don't know. And of course, we are dividing by 5, and 5 is known as our divisor. All right. So great going, guys. Thank you for coming on in. And of course, enjoy this session. All right. So the first thing we are going to say, how many groups of 5 can we get from this 5? And of course, we can only get one group of 5. So 5 multiplied by 5 is going to give us 5. We're now going to take away. So when you have 5 things and you give away all 5, you are left with 0. The next step is that we're going to bring down the next digit that is in line. And of course, that is our 9. All right. So look what I am doing. I just bring down my 9. So I'm now going to say, how many groups of 5 can we get from this 9? And of course, we can only get one group of 5. We can get one group of 5. And I'm going to put the one group of 5 that we can get right there. The next step is to multiply. 5 multiplied by 1, you are going to get 5. Then we're going to take away again. So now we have 9 things and we give away 5. We are left with 4. All right. So can we get a group of 5 from 4? No, we can't. So what is next is our decimal place. We're going to put our decimal place down. And of course, we are going to bring down the next digit that is in line. All right. So I'm going to bring down my 2. And of course, it is now 42. We now have 42. So now you're going to ask yourself, how many groups of 5 can you get from 42? How many groups of 5 can you get from 42? And of course, we can get 8 groups. We can get 8 groups. So now you're going to multiply 5 by 8. And of course, that is 40. And of course, I'm going to write my 40 down. And I am going to ensure that I take away. You have 2 things and you give away 0. You still have 2. And you have 4 things and you give away 4. You are left with 0. The next thing you're going to say, can we get a group of 5 from 2? No, we can't, because 2 is smaller than 5. So the next step is that we're going to bring down the next digit, which is 5. And of course, it is now going to be 25. How many groups of 5 can you get from 25? And of course, you can only get 5 groups of 5 from 25. And now you're going to multiply. 5 multiplied by 5, of course, that is 25. All right, draw your line, and of course, you're going to take away. You have 5 things and you give away all 5 of it, you're left with 0. And of course, you have 2 things and you give away 2, you are left with 0. So here we have 0 remainder left. All right, so what is our quotient now? Our quotient is 11.85. That is our quotient. And of course, let's check to see if our quotient is correct. How do we check to see if our quotient is correct? You take your quotient and of course, you multiply it by your divisor. And if you get back your dividend, that would tell you that, of course, your answer is definitely correct. So let's do some checks right now. All right. So we're going to take 11.85. And of course, we are going to multiply it by 5. So let's see now. Remember now, we are working decimal numbers. And because we're working decimal numbers, we are going to put our decimal place down and then check to see how many digits we have after our decimal place. In this problem, we have only 2 digits. So I'm going to put 2 dots to ensure that my rows are neatly done. And of course, I am going to start multiplying now. So 5 multiplied by 5, of course, that is 25. That is how we write 25. And 25 is a 2-digit number. You are going to put down the 5 that is in the ones place. And of course, you're going to carry the 2 that is in the tens place. And we're going to carry it over to our 10th column. All right. So the next step is that we are going to multiply 5 by 8 or 8 by 5. And of course, that is 40. Then we're going to add 2 to this 40. So that is going to give us 42. So 42 is written like this. You are going to put down the 2 that is in the ones place. And of course, you're going to carry the 4 over to the ones place. All right. So now let's continue. All right. The next thing we're going to do is to multiply 5 by 1 or 1 by 5. You will still get the same answer, which is 5. Then you are going to add this 4 that you carry to it. And of course, you are going to get 9. 9 is a 1-digit number, so you put down all of it. All right. So we're going to take this 5 and multiply it by this 5. And of course, you are going to get 1. You're going to put down all 5. All right. So let's check. And of course, that you just get is known as your product. That is PRODUCT. Your answer in a multiplication problem is known as your product. So that is your product. And of course, guys, we have for our product 59.25. And of course, it is the same as our dividend in our division problem. So that is telling us that, of course, our product and our dividend, they are the same. So therefore, our quotient is correct. So the quotient for this division is 11.85. I hope you are understanding so far, and I hope this is clear to you. All right, let me check the chat to see what's going on. And of course, I see Miss Natty, and she said, okay. And of course, she said, you are welcome. Also, we see Miss Natty, and she said, education. So I asked the question, and of course, she is hearing me clearly. So she typed the word education. All right, so look at the problem. Look at the problem, and let me know if you are understanding so far. All right, so for the persons who are just coming on in, we are doing division, and of course, we're dividing decimals by whole numbers. All right, I'm going to erase this and take the last problem. All right, so we're going to work the last problem. And of course, guys, thank you so very much for coming on in, and thank you for making it Dijonae's Educational Channel. So I am erasing this one. All right, remember that when you are doing division, you have to follow the process. And of course, remember, there's a procedure, which is first, you would divide, then you would multiply, then the next thing you would do is to subtract, then you would bring down and then repeat the process if you need to. All right, so guys, let's go ahead and work another problem. All right, so the problem that we're going to work now is 38.67. So we have 38.67. And of course, we are dividing by 3. All right, let's go ahead and work this problem. All right, first you have to set out the problem. All right, so let's set it out. And of course, remember, guys, that 38.67 is known as your dividend. And of course, 3 is known as your divisor. Let me write back the word divisor right here, which is DIVISOR. So that's your divisor. And of course, we're working to get our quotient. All right. So let's just go right ahead and work this problem. All right. So now we have 3. How many groups of 3s can we get from this 3 right here? And we can only get one group of 3. Now we're going to multiply. Take this 3 and multiply it by 1. 3 multiplied by 1 or 1 multiplied by 3. Of course, you're going to get the same thing, which is 3. All right, we're going to take away now. You have 3 things and you give away all 3 of it, you're left with 0. So the next thing is that you're going to do is that you're going to bring down. What are you going to bring down? You're going to bring down the next digit that is in line. And this digit is in the ones place. So now you're going to ask yourself, how many groups of threes can you get from 8? And of course, you can only get 2 groups of threes. Now you're going to multiply this 3 by that 2. 3 multiplied by 2, of course, that is 6. Look where I'm writing my 6, guys. And of course, I am going to take away next. You have 8 things and you give away 6. Of course, you are left with 2. All right, look where I write my 2. The next thing we're going to do is to check to see if we can get a group of 3 from 2. We can't because 2 is smaller than 3. So the next thing we're going to do is to write back our decimal place. And of course, you see, my decimal places line up with this one that is in the dividend. And of course, the next thing we're going to do, because we can't get a group of 3 from 2, we are going to bring down this 6. And now it is going to become 26. Ask yourself, how many groups of 3s can you get from 26? And of course, you can get only 8 groups. You can only get 8 groups of 3s. So now you're going to multiply 3 by 8. And of course, 3 by 8, you are going to get 24. I'm going to write my 24 down. I'm going to draw my line and I'm going to take away. You have 6 and you take away 4. Of course, you're going to left with 2. You have 2 things and you give away all 2 of it, you're left with 0. So can we get a group of 3 from this 2? No, we can't because 2 is smaller than 3. So the next thing we are going to do is to bring down the next digit that is in 9, and that is the 7. And of course, the 7 is in the 100th place. All right. So now we're going to say, how many groups of 3s can we get from 27? And of course, we can get 9 groups. All right. We can get 9 groups. And 3 multiplied by 9, of course, that is 27. We're going to take away now. And of course, you have 17, you give away all 7 of it. You're left with 0. You have 2 things and you give away 2 things. We have 0 left. So in this case, our quotient is 12.89. And of course, our divisor is 3 and our dividend is 38.67. So let's do a check to see if our quotient is correct. How do we check to see if our quotient is correct? We are going to take our quotient and multiply it by our divisor. So let's do a check right here. So I'm going to take my 12.89 and of course I'm going to multiply it by 3. Go ahead and do our multiplication. Remember, we're doing decimal, and of course, we have to ensure that we put back our decimal points. All right, now make it big so you can all see it. But the first thing we have to do is to check to see how many digits are after our decimal place, because our answer must have the same amount. All right, so we have 2 digits. So what we're going to do is to put 2 dots. All right, that is to ensure that our rows and columns are neatly done. All right, so the next thing we're going to do right here is that we're going to take this 9 and multiply it by this 3. So you have 9 things and you multiply it by 3. Of course, that is 27. Remember, 27 is a 2-digit number, and because 27 is a 2-digit number, we're going to put down the 7 because the 7 is in the ones place. You always put down the digit that is in the ones place. And of course, the first digit is going to fall under our 100th place. And of course, we're going to carry our 2 right over to our 10th place. All right, the next step is that you're going to take this 8 that is in your 10th place and multiply it by this 3, which is your. So here we're going to get 3 multiplied by 8 or 8 multiplied by 3. Of course, that is 24. So 24 plus that 2 that you carry, of course, you are going to get 26. 26 again is a 2-digit number. You are going to put on the 6. The 6 is in the ones place. You're going to carry the 2 over to the ones place. And of course, we're going to continue working the problem. All right. So The next step is that you're going to take this 2 and multiply it by 3. And of course, 2 multiplied by 3, you get 6. 6 plus 2 is 8. You are going to put all the 8 down because 8 is a one-digit number. The next step is that you're going to take this one and multiply it by 3. And of course, you are going to get 3. All right, let's do a check now. Of course, this answer that you just get is known as your product. Product. And of course, when you work a multiplication problem, your answer is known as your product. And when you work a division problem, your answer is known as your quotient. All right, so this is what the problem is looking like after finish doing all the working. So let's do a check now to see if our product is the same thing as our dividend. All right, so for our product, we got 38.67, and of course, our dividend is 38.67. So this is telling us that our quotient is correct. All right, thank you so very much for making it Dijonae Jaynae Educational Channel. Thank you for coming on in and to share with us during our math hour, early morning math hour. All right, thank you so very much. And for the persons who are just coming on in, we were looking at division problem. And of course, we were dividing decimals by whole numbers. I'm going to give you a minute or two to check to see what I have there. All right. So, of course, I am Debra-kaye and I'm signing out. I'm signing out of Math Hour. And remember, we are officially live on Dijonae Jaynae Educational Channel. And over here we say, education is the most powerful missile to change the world. And of course, thank you so very much. Have yourself a blessed day. Remember, if you are on the replay, you can leave us a comment on the outside for us to know that you were here. Have yourself a blessed day. As we would normally say, walk good.